What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Litecoin today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. I was looking at this in a very simple kind of context, and it might be too simple. It's not flawless, this line of thinking, but just hear me out, okay? Let's go with it, okay? Here, obviously, this was the high. This was the high of the overall move. It was here, but I think it's safe to assume that the move probably ended here. You started consolidating at this time. We're on a daily basis here. When you broke down from this range was here. So essentially, you made your move up, you stopped moving up, you moved up a little bit, you had your fake out high right there, right? But you really consolidated, and then on your 7th day, you broke down. Okay, so now instead of being at the high, let's measure from your low, because here you consolidated again before moving lower. You consolidated here for about 7 days. You consolidated 7 days the first time, you consolidated 7 days the second time, and then you moved down. Yes, you did. We do it this time, and we go to the current day. It is now 10 days, okay? And what brought me to this, if you're not connecting the dots already, let me kind of connect the dots. And there might be no dots to connect. We still could go down, but I was looking at this and thinking, just looking at this, it's like we consolidated here. You have this upward sloping line on your lows right here. Once you broke that, boom, it went to the downside. No problem. Doors open to the downside. Here, you had this like sloping upwards trend line right here. Once you broke that on this day, boom, floodgates open to the downside. You have this upward sloping trend line here. You broke it, but you didn't go to the downside this time. It's like you had reasons to go to the downside this time, but you didn't. It's like you've been in this consolidation phase longer than you have the previous 2 times, long enough to continue the move down if you wanted to, but you haven't. And generally speaking, it's whenever I believe that you want to move up, it looks like you want to move up, but you just don't do it. That's when you move down. Same thing when you're moving down. If you look like you want to move down, but you just can't do it, that's normally when you move up, right? It's like here. Your RSI here is not looking good at all. You're getting oversold. You're rejecting the 60. You're coming down. You're getting below the 40. You had all the reasons to go lower. Why didn't you? You didn't. So you went higher, rejecting here, double top, triple top, whatever. You had all the reasons to go lower, but you didn't. And whenever you did this, it wasn't like you bounced immediately. It was like you took some days, like 4 or 5 days to figure it out, and then you slowly reversed out of it, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to believe in this trend more. Oh, okay, as I'm believing in it more, the moves get bigger, right? It's kind of the same thing here is my line of thinking, is that right now people are expecting the price to go lower. And as time goes on, over the past few days at least, where it seems just like the time before, that we should have this next move down, right? It's like we're waiting on it to happen, but it hasn't happened. I say I haven't expected the price to go lower than this low. I've been saying personally that I expect it to go higher. I'm just when I say I'm interpreting what I would assume most people are thinking. A lot of people are probably waiting on the price to drop below this, right? And maybe even rightfully so, at least these first few days. But with the last couple days of price action closing like this, it's like you've had the reasons to go down, right? Your daily RSI had all the reasons to go down. You closed below the 40 multiple times, right? But you just didn't do it. Your volume's dying off. You're getting lower daily closes and your volume's dying off, right? And your RSI is still getting higher lows even though you're getting lower daily closes. Something's different, right? And you're not moving down, obviously, with the same tenacity that you did the last 2 times. And even then, even with those moves, those rather ferocious moves to the downside, your volume still died off. Now there's literally no interest at all. I think this thing's about to have a massive reversal. I think as you move sideways here, what's cool about this is you broke this kind of trend line, or maybe it's not a trend line there, but whatever. You broke this like higher low support structure here, and that sent you down. You broke this higher low structure, and really you're moving sideways now. And as you continue to move sideways, you're going to get closer to this resistance trend line here, right? As you continue to move sideways, you won't have to move up as much to break through it. You won't even have to be above this high to break through it once enough time goes by. So I'm assuming one of 2 things is about to happen for Litecoin. One, you're either about to rip, like you're really about to rip. And I think it could happen over this next week that we ignite this move that takes you up, pretty high from where you are now, at least to like 120, if not more, by the end of the week. That could start this week. Or maybe you're boring Maybe you're boring for a little bit longer. People still haven't figured out, right, that we're not moving down anymore. Maybe give people more time to be like, why aren't we moving down yet? We should be moving down, right? And then the price moves up as we get closer to this trend line and we break out of it, right? Maybe it's the first week of January that we start to move up. So maybe it's not by the end of this week. Maybe this whole week for Litecoin is literally boring. And then next week we move up, or we start it this week. Last week, we closed 1.3% to the downside. I would call that a boring week. Are we going to have 2 boring weeks in a row in the midst of this breakout move? I personally don't think we will, but it's possible. Are we going to have more than 2 weeks in a row of boringness in the midst of this breakout move? I really don't think that's going to happen. So I think either by the end of this week, which we just started 6 days, 19 hours from now, by the end of this week, we'll be above $120, if not above this relative high. If not, then sometime next week, a whole week from now, we'll begin this move that's going to take us above this high. And by the end of January, 2 targets that are at the same targets that we've been predicting. Anything from about, what was it, 205? 223 to $300. That's the target area, 223 to 300. Maybe it was 250 to 317. Either one of those answers will do just fine, but something in that area, right? One day, 19 hours left in this month. You're only down 2.4%. It wouldn't be bad if it closed red, but I'd like to see it close green, because if it can close green, then what you have is you have these higher highs closing, right? And then potentially, if this were to close red, you'd have a higher high here with a lower high. It's a higher high in price, but it's a lower high in closing prices, and that'd be hidden bearish divergence. That might be good for a move down, but hidden divergences are more likely to be overtaken than regular divergences are, so it could just be a nothing. Even if this closes red and we do have that confirmed lower high, higher high, hidden bearish divergence, that doesn't mean that we have to move down, right? Or maybe we move down the first week and then we move up, you know, however it looks. But if we close this month green and we continue to close green and we get above these highs, then it's looking like higher highs here and higher highs in the price, and we're getting in the overbought, so that could be just a better, I think that'd be a better look overall. So it's not crucial. I wouldn't say it's crucial, but it's a nice little goal. It's not that far away. You're at $100.27 right now. Close above $103 in the next day and 19 hours. That'd be nice. And then maybe this week get above 120. Maybe if not by the end of this week, next week, that's when you'll start doing that. You start getting back above 120, and then we're going to look at targets. We really will be focusing on targets above 220 and higher over the coming weeks. Until then, we're just waiting. Until then, you really could just be moving sideways. It could be a whole nother week that you're being boring, man. I mean, I'm talking about, if I was to make videos every single day on Litecoin, I'm talking about back-to-back days where we're either at 100, 105, or 95, right, or somewhere in that range. Please, people, I'm going to end the video here pretty soon. I'm going to end it with this note, okay? Please do not get discouraged with these imaginary numbers in our heads, right? This $100 number. If we're at 95, it's fine. It's a higher low. It's fine. It's 95. Who cares? 95, 100, 105, whatever. Just because you're above 100 does not mean it's good. Just because you're below 100 does not mean it's bad, right? Don't think of it that way. Litecoin is going to move up. It's in the midst right now of a breakout move, right? It's just consolidating. It's got more to go. This breakout move, to me, it's going to be at least, I would think, a 5-legged pattern. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Probably going into the end of March, end of May, somewhere in that time, right? I would expect that we at least see that, and it's probably going to be more strong than this. I just drew that. You know, I don't think that by the end of March, by the end of May, we'd be at 300. Maybe we're there, maybe we're higher, but just a 5-legged pattern is all I'm trying to guess. We right now are on our second leg, right? The corrective phase. The first leg is always impulsive to the upside. The second is always corrective. The third is another move up. The fourth is always corrective. And then the fifth is our final move, which tends to be either the biggest move or the second biggest move. Oftentimes, the first leg is the smallest move as far as the upward move goes. The corrective moves are always smaller, to be completely fair, right? And that's how you can properly identify these wave counts. But going off of this, beyond just the wave counts, looking at the fibs, rejecting from the 618, holding the 0.5 as support, very good indication that you will just make a nice move up to the 786, 886 area. So I think it's more than appropriate by the end of January. I think, actually, let me rephrase this. I think it's completely inappropriate. It's completely fallible. It's a lie to expect anything less than $223 by the end of January for Litecoin within the next 4 weeks. It really is inconceivable to me that Litecoin would be anywhere less than $223. None of this financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, right? It's not a guarantee, but I would make that bet. I would make that bet with anybody, man. Like genuinely. Potentially even above 300 by the end of January. It could happen now. And the higher up you go, the closer you go to these highs, probably the more relatively short the time frame will be before you break out of them, if that makes any sense. So I got nothing else to say, guys. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I keep saying I got nothing to say, but let's just look at the ribbon for fun. Monthly ribbon looks great. It's probably the best case for Litecoin there. Weekly ribbon actually looks good too. The daily still doesn't look good, but another one of those things, right? It's another one of those things like in the beginning of the video, like what I was saying. You've got all the reasons to move down. Why aren't you? You rejected the yellow line. You got back below the ribbon. You even back tested for resistance here. Why aren't you moving down? And overall, the ribbon is still bullishly postured. So the fact that you had the Bears had the opportunity to send this thing lower. That's what this was, man. That's exactly like that is bearish. That is bad. You don't want to do that, especially getting back below the ribbon. It's not good, but you haven't done anything with it. Now the ball's back in the bull's court. Now the true nature of the ribbon, which is bullishly postured still, regardless of the price action, it is still postured. Now things are looking like, oh, you had your chance and you soiled yourself with it. You didn't do anything. Now it's my turn, right? It's like if the Bulls and the Bears are getting in a fight right now, right? This right here, this moment was the Bulls literally just being like, come here, go ahead, hit me, right there, boom. And the Bears hit them. And now the Bulls are looking at you in the face. It's like, now it's my turn. Boom. Right through that wasn't supposed to happen. It was supposed to be this boom while I'm looking at you in the eyes. But you guys get the point. I got nothing else to say. If you like the video, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I really do suspect that Litecoin will move up from here and not down. If I'm wrong, and I didn't talk about that at all, which shame on me for not talking about that. But if I am wrong, and I can be wrong, I've been wrong before, I'll be wrong again. Do not panic. The reality of the matter is Litecoin could drop all the way back below $80 and it would still be fine. Still be perfectly fine for targets at the same areas that I'm calling for by the end of January. Okay. So fret not if I'm wrong and that does happen, but I think if we were to go lower than this low, we would have been doing it already. I think we would have been doing it, and going from 7 days of consolidation to 7 days of consolidation to 10 days of consolidation, it's not that big of a difference, but kind of, it's different behavior begets different results, and it seems as though we're doing different things this time. That was a very lackluster amount of volume. I'm just rambling at this point. You guys already know the whole point, so I'm going to end the video. Take care. Hit the like button. Bye-bye.